This is as close as we can get to Southern California's
so-called
what's being
called
fire,
biblical flooding across Colorado.
The people overseeing the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant have another problem on their hands. Officials with Tokyo Electric Power Plant say the levels of radioactivity are monitoring their storage tank. More than 300 tons of highly radioactive water leaked last month out of the storage tank. The water is thought to have seeped into the soil. Managers have assigned more monitors to check for radioactive materials in groundwater. Tritium at one of the wells.
I speak unto thee this day, and I say that it is true, it is true, it is true, that my own people were taken into captivity because they refused to listen to me. That is, because they refused to listen to my prophets that I sent repeatedly unto them, and pay heed and obey what came of them. I say they were taken into captivity, to slavery, to bondage. They were even hauled away from their own land. Now I say, when you look upon the sorrow, the tragedy, the suffering they underwent, I say it is because they refused to listen to and obey me. Now I say that it has not changed in this wicked generation, so is it true, that it is me, the living God, who does send forth my prophets again and again and again, crying out for men to repent. But I say, because men are refusing to listen, to obey, to walk in the way that I ordain, I say they will undergo tragedy, sorrow, captivity, slavery, and bondage all over again. And I say that they bring it to themselves because of their stubbornness, because of their pride, because of their refusal of me. Now I say there are many even now who are in the captivity, the slavery of sin, and I say it is because they refuse to listen to me. That is, they refuse to listen to the warnings of my prophets. They refuse to pay heed to the same. And I say, because they refused what it was that idol-living God intended for them, I say they were the ones taken away. That is, they were taken away from the mercy, taken away from the truth, taken away from the light. And I say that it came to them not in one day, but because they refused again and again and again. That is, because of their continual refusal, because of their continual rebellion, because of their continual hatred towards me. Now I say that I, the living God, do not intend that the ones who say they are my people would live in hatred towards me. But I say that I intend that they would be submitted unto me, ever thankful for the way that I offer and provide. For I say, when any man or woman will look upon the way that I give to them, I say that it is the way of life. But I say, if they look at that way, despise that way, then they will be, of course, in the way of death. For I say that when men will walk according to their own lust and greed, according to their own ambition and desire, refusing to listen to me, to obey me, what do? I say they simply set themselves up to be the target of the enemies, and I say the enemy shall overwhelm them. And I say, because they have allowed themselves to become the targets of evil forces, I say they will be devoured and destroyed by the same. For I say they are giving themselves to that which is weariness and dreariness, because they are far from me. Now I say this day that I, the living God, never ever intended that my own people would be far from me, but rather that they would pay heed unto me. That is, that they would pay heed to my truth, my light, my instruction, and be accepting of the same. For I say that I, the living God, do intend that my people would be directed in that which is truth and light, that which is mercy and peace, and that which is hope always. But I say, if they refuse to hear the direction, the correction, and the instruction that I send unto them, I say they are taken away. That is, away in the way of captivity, slavery, bondage, and oppression, and in the same they will live out their days. For I say that I, the living God, will not plead forever with the rebellious, a hateful, a despising people who literally despise my way. For I say, when they are full of hateful motives, when they are full of anger and bitterness against me for no cause at all, what do they prove? They prove they are arrogant and proud fools who are destined to their own damnation, and yes, they will have it their way. For I say they are refusing the warnings, they are refusing the admonitions, the corrections that I would send to them in order that they could straighten their way. But I say instead they are choosing to believe the lies of the liar and loving it so. Now I say that I, the living God, am faithful to warn and to warn and to warn that men would hear, listen, and obey. That is, that they would pay heed to the words that my prophets bring unto them, and obey the same. But I say, when men will repeatedly refuse, then go on to accuse me, what do? I say they set themselves up for the devastation, the despair, the sorrow that shall become their lives. Now I say this day that I, the living God, absolutely do not find pleasure in those who refuse to obey me. That is, the ones who refuse to listen to me, to pay heed to me, to come forth in my way. For I say, when men will be stubborn and proud against me, and determined to do it their way, what do? I say they take themselves in a way that is weariness and dreariness, a way that is darkness, and yes, they are loving it so. Now I say this day that I, the living God, never ever intended that my own people would become the slaves of the heathen, would become the captives of darkness, would become bound by sins on every hand. Yet I say, when the ones who say they are my people refuse to listen to me, refuse to obey me, I say they are the ones who are enslaved by their disobedience. Now I say this day that I, the living God, do offer to the ones who will listen unto me the way that is life. And I say, when a people will listen and obey, they are brought forth in the way that is well-pleasing unto me. But I say, when they refuse to listen, to obey, to walk in my way, I say they become the children of wrath by their very choices against me. That is, they are choosing for my wrath, my fury, my indignation to be displayed upon them and against them, because they are choosing to live far from me. Now I say this day that I, the living God, do not intend that you would walk in the way that is foolish, the way that is vile, the way that is corrupt. And I say that I do not intend that you would be taken down the road of futility because you are far from me. But I say that I intend that you would be uplifted, coming forth, ever guided by me, the one true God who is indeed caring for thee. For I say it is me, the living God, and me alone, who will give to thee the rock of refuge, who will give to thee the truth, the light, the mercy, and the peace that I provide. And I say, if you will be ever thankful for that way, you will be guided in the same. That is, you will be given the abundance, you will be given the truth, and you will be given the mercy day by day. For I say it is only through me, the living God, that you will find yourself directed, corrected, and kept in the truth, the life, the strength that I provide. Now I say this day that I, the living God, do not find pleasure in a rebellious, a hateful, a foolish people who are determined to do it their way. For I say, if you really consider how could any man or woman successfully navigate their way when they do not even know the way? That is, when they are ever needy of my truth, my life, my mercy to be given unto them, and they do not even receive the same. But I say instead they go and wax bolder in darkness, iniquity, and foolery, and vanity, loving it so. Now I say, when you look upon the ones who are enslaved, who are in captivity, know that literally they have put themselves there. That is, by choosing to live in opposition, rebellion against me, I say they have taken away of their own evil intention. And I say that way will prove to be the death unto them, because they are strayed far from me. And I say that way will prove to be the darkness provided because they have chosen to live in absolute opposition to me. Now I say this day that I, the living God, do not intend for you to walk in the weariness, the dreariness, the vileness, the corruption of your own way. But I say that I do intend that you would indeed be uplifted, directed, and guided always by me. I say that I do intend that you would come forth, made glad, ever thankful, that it is me you are meant to please day by day. For I say if you will indeed listen and obey me, then I say you are well-pleasing unto me. But I say when you refuse to listen, you refuse to obey, and go in any other way, then you've chosen the way of fools. Now I say this day when you look upon what it is that comes to the sons of men through disobedience, I say it is nothing but emptiness, futility, and despair. And I say that it's brought about because men harden the heart, stiffen the neck against me. And I say while they are so proud of their defiance and their lack of reliance upon me, what is it that they give themselves to? I say they give themselves to a multitude of demons that will only devour their soul. Now I say this day that I, the living God, do intend thee to come forth, to be uplifted, to be directed and guided by me. And I say that I do intend thee to be thankful, that it is me you are privileged to look to, that it is me you are privileged to believe, to trust, to obey. For I say that I, the living God, am the one who does direct, correct, and bring me forth time and again. And I say that I am the one who does give to thee tender mercy, that you can indeed be kept always by me. Now I say this day that I, the living God, will guide thee forth by a plain path, and I will direct thy steps. I say that I will guide thee forth by a plain path, and I will instruct thee in life. I say it is not a difficult thing if you walk in obedience unto me to continue in the same. But I say if you veer off to the way of rebellion, the way of disobedience, the way of disrespect and disregard for me, what do? I say you take yourself down the course of destruction, the course of damnation, and yes, it is a sad way to go. Now I say this day that I, the living God, do purpose thee to walk uprightly. I say that I purpose thee to be coming forth ever directed and corrected by me. And I say that I purpose thee in such ways that you can indeed be thankful unto me. Now I say this day that I, the living God, will give to thee the abundance of mercy and truth, the abundance of life, and the abundance of goodness always. And I say that I will give to thee the light upon the path, that you can indeed ever come forth rejoicing in me. Now I say this day that I, the living God, have intended that you would be kept, that you would be guided, that you would be directed always. And I say if you will be accepting of that, you are ever instructed in me. And I say if you will be purposed to please me, then I say that I, the living God, will cause thee to come forth ever rejoicing in my way. But I say if you are indeed stubborn, proud, and refusing to listen and obey me, then I say the disobedience that you exhibit towards me brings my wrath upon thee. Now I say this day, do not be so stupid, so dull, so dumb as my own people who literally refused me time and again, only inviting their troubles. But I say instead learn the lessons that are written down, that you do not need to repeat the same. And I say, be coming forth ever thankful that as you listen to me and obey me, you are ever guided in me. And I say that you will be directed, corrected, and given the truth, the light, the mercy, the strength that I provide. For I say it is me, the living God, who is the way of all righteousness, the way of all truth, and the way of mercy intended. Therefore I say, be quick to accept my way, be quick to walk in my truth, be quick to be directed by me. And I say, be ever thankful that it is me that you can continue to look to believe, to trust, and obey, for I am ever present unto thee. And I say, be thankful that you do not need to repeat the wretchedness of rebellion that has gone before thee, and do the same thing. But I say that you can indeed listen to me, obey me, and come forth in the way that I provide for thee. For I say it is me, the living God, who does instruct, direct, correct, and guide thee forth, for yes, indeed, you are mine. And I say you can be thankful each day that it is me that you seek to please and obey. Praise God. Welcome to Battle Cry Sounding, Battle Cry Pounding, because, why? The Lord is on the move, and the Lord is moving by His wrath, His fury, His indignation against a defiant, a proud, a rebellious, a hateful, wicked generation. You say, well, that sounds like you don't even love God's people. No, it's not true. If I didn't love God's people, I wouldn't bother to put forth the words of truth that God desires me to put forth in order to separate the precious from the vile, in order to free God's people of their sins by exposing the sin, and in order to set the course right, which is the way that the Lord desires. So today we're going to be in Hosea chapter 5, and the name of the message is Pride and Self-Reliance. Pride and self-reliance. Now, if you're an American, then pride and self-reliance are a part of your heritage. They are a part of those God-given rights that your forefathers bought for you. Okay? And even that is a false concept, but you know, we're full of deception in this country. But pride and self-reliance is what makes people get all worked up over God and country. It causes people to get all worked up over patriotism and even have theology that is in accordance with the same. We call it patriotism theology, worship of the forefathers. And then this pride and self-reliance is what blinds our eyes to our true condition as a nation. You know, we don't see that we're so ridiculously, horrendously, viciously, vilely in debt, we'll never come out of it. We don't see that we've set ourselves up as the police force of the entire earth, that we can even dictate to world leaders of other nations how they are to believe and how they are to enforce a morality that's totally defiled and decayed because we say they should, and how we can wage war against anybody and say they're a threat to our national security when they live 10,000 miles away and don't even have planes that get off the ground. Why? Because we want to murder, because we want to intimidate, because we want to show our great force, because we want to try out our new toys that we give to our boys who go overseas in the name of America. So you could see that these things of pride and self-reliance are very evident. And you know, one of the great features of Americanism is independence. Oh yes, the great 4th of July, the red, white, and blue forever, the day that we signed the Declaration of Independence, the day that we proved that we didn't need those tax-driven Britons bearing rule over us anymore. We did not need to say, long live the king or the queen anymore. And we were on our own. Now, guess what? We're enslaved to taxes. And we don't have the king or queen anymore telling us what to do. We're in slavery to taxes and rising costs every single day. And guess what else? We're in slavery to an emperor who dictates entities, who signs executive orders as though his ballpoint pen would never run out of ink. And so the very things that we think we are so independent of and nobody's going to boss us around is a lie. Because this country is continually sending forth emissaries, ambassadors, representatives, secretaries of state to beg foreign nations to give us another loan. to give us more money, just one more year, and then we'll pay you back, and then we'll make retribution, and we get deeper and deeper and deeper in debt, and the greatest financial crises that the world has probably ever seen or ever will see, and we are spearheading it. So where is our self-reliance and our pride taking us? Into a ditch. Now, let's go to Hosea 5 and find out what happened to Israel. Hear this, O you priests, beginning in verse 1. And I'm reading out of the Amplified Version, Hosea chapter 5. Hear this, O you priests, and listen, O house of Israel, and give ear, O house of the king. For the judgment pronounced pertains to you, and is meant for you, because you have been a snare at Mizpah, and a net spread upon Tabor, military strongholds on either side of the Jordan River. It says the revolters are deeply sunk in corruption and slaughter. But I, the Lord God, am a rebuke and a chastisement for them all. Now that definitely sounds like the condition of America. Revolters who are deeply sunk in corruption and slaughter. Then it says, I know Ephraim, and Israel is not hid from me. For now, O Ephraim, you have played the harlot and have worshipped idols. Israel is defiled. Their doings will not permit them to return to their God, for the spirit of harlotry is within them, and they know not the Lord. They do not recognize, appreciate, give heed to, or cherish the Lord. So what is he saying? He's saying their doings will not permit them to return to the Lord. And why won't their doings permit them to return to the Lord? Because their doings are their sins. They are their transgressions. They are their violations. They are doing the very things that God forbid them to do. And because they have committed themselves to sin rather than righteousness, because they have acted out sin rather than righteousness, they are not permitted by those very forces of darkness to return to the Lord. Did you know that if you give way to sin, if you turn to foolishness and folly, if you abandon to the way of demons to rule you rather than the way of God, that you will not even have the strength to return to God? I meet them all the time. Backsliders who are so far down they cannot even return to the Lord. So far from God that all they can do is recall God as a faint memory with no strength, no ability to forsake sin. It's true. When you're living in righteousness, you do not think that such a place of spiritual disease could be possible. But when men are living in unrighteousness, when they are living in sin continually, when they are living in violation and transgression of God, they will grow so weak, so feeble, so devastated by the power of sin, they cannot return to God. And many people, as you know and I know, die and perish in their sins. Even though they may have a good intention in the back of their minds that someday they'll return to God, that someday never comes. And instead what comes upon them is the day of their damnation. So this shape that they were in was a place that's highly possible. It's not some lie that God made up and told to the prophet. It was the reality of their spiritual condition. From glory to gutlessness. To where they had no strength at all. Okay, then it goes on. Okay, you look at the condition right now before we go on in the scripture. You look at the condition that's in the church. The church is bowing to the homosexual agenda on every hand. Pretty soon it's going to bow to the pedophile agenda. And you think it won't happen? It'll happen. The church is bowed to abortion. The church is bowed to promiscuity. There's many churches that sanction that gives sanction to fornication among young adults and living in sin with no bond of marriage at all. They say, fine, if that's the way you want to do it, have at it. With no commitment, no vows, no consecration. So they've given way to all those things. The church has given way to thievery. The church has given way to lies. And the church has given way to false prophets. On and on and on it could go. It's given way to Islam. We have the great Rick Warren promoting Christ-lam or Christ-lom. They're not compatible. They're not compatible. Muslims don't even believe that Jesus Christ is the Messiah, the Son of God. They say he was only a good man and a prophet. They don't believe he's the only begotten Son of God. They don't even believe God had a son. So how can the two be compatible? How can the two be merged into one? By falsity, by vanity, by lying deceivers, like Fat Man. And on and on and on it goes. Why is it there? It is there because they gave way through pride and self-reliance to sin. See, when you're proud, you won't accept correction. When you're proud, you won't accept direction because you know it all. And when you're reliant upon you rather than reliant upon God, then you'll always take the glory and you'll always want to be the big I am and you'll always be the one that thinks you can pull it off. So, you look at the condition of what we have now. The church is highly independent of God. It relies upon itself. It does not rely upon God. It relies upon money. It relies upon entertainment. It relies upon the world's methods of deceiving people and conniving people and seducing people. It relies upon management skills. And on and on and on and on. It relies upon extended education and degrees that certify that somebody needs to take a laxative. Okay, so we got it summed up here that Israel and America have great similarities. If we go to the Word and we look to the modern example, we see the epitome of pride and self-reliance manifest in both cases.
What has been is what will be, and what has been done is what will be done. And there is nothing new under the sun. Is there a thing of which it is said, see, this is new? It has been already in the ages before us.
Entire delegation. We have an enduring bond of friendship between our two countries. And I appreciate the opportunity to have this meeting with you after your important speech yesterday. We share your hope and your vision for the spread of democracy in the Middle East. I appreciate the fact that you reaffirmed once again now and in our conversation and in actual deed the commitment to Israel's security. We value your efforts to advance the peace process. This is something that we want to have accomplished. Israel wants peace. I want peace. What we all want is a peace that will be genuine, that will hold, that will endure. And I think that we both agree that a peace based on illusions will crash eventually on the rocks of Middle Eastern reality, and that the only peace that will endure is one that is based on reality, on unshakable facts. I think for there to be peace,
We see
the Palestinians will
the
have to
epitome
accept
of pride and self-reliance
some
manifest in
basic
both
reality.
cases. So we think we're into some
First
new
is that
thing.
while
It's the
Israel
same
is
old
prepared
stuff.
to
It's the same old
defend
backsliding. It's the same old hatred for God. It's the same old rebellion. It's the same old sin. It's the same old devil conniving soul. And it's the same old fools falling for it. Okay, going on. Then it says, as I said it before, I'll repeat it. You've played the harlot and have worshipped idols. Israel is defiled. Their doings will not permit them to return to their God, for the spirit of harlotry is within them, and they know not the Lord. They do not recognize, appreciate, give heed to, or cherish the Lord. Then it says, going on, but the pride and self-reliance of Israel testifies before his own face. The pride and the self-reliance testifies before his own face. So in other words, here's the very thing that has caused the fall, that has caused the devastation, that has caused the ruination, and there it is, right in his face. The face of Israel. What is in the face of America? Pride and self-reliance. Pride and self-reliance. That has caused the fall. Pride and self-reliance. We are the greatest nation on earth. We know more than all people. We know more than God. We know everything because we are America. Do you know a foreign leader just last week had the audacity to say that Americans, and of course I know he was referring to the emperor likewise, are full of the assumption that they are superior people.